And likewise with ourselves. So, like any Crescent team, you'd have to respect your semi-final opponents there, and we know they'll be good, and we need to be at our very best to counter them on the day.
Lee Nicholas, semi-final of the Munster Schools Senior Cup. How have preparations been this week?
Yeah, preparations have been excellent. I suppose we were out in UL on the AstroTurf on the 4G pitch for the last couple of sessions just to get used to the surface, but trained right through midterm, so and fair play to the lads. It's a big commitment to come in on their week off, but there were no questions asked with it.
What are your team going to need to do well against a very good, well-drilled and big Christian side?
Well, I suppose like that, they're very well drilled, they're big, they're physical, so similar to what we did against Ardskull, just front up physically is the main thing for us. But then again, being on an AstroTurf and with some of the playmakers and key decision makers that Christians have, we're going to have to cover the backfield quite well and also keep them out of our own half. So there's a bit to it, all right. It's not just the physicality that you would normally expect, but our lads know what they're doing.
You're very welcome back to Musgrave Park for this Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final between Crescent College Comprehensive and CBC of Cork. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the half-back pairing of Mr. Duncan Williams and Johnny Holland. Duncan, you've been part of many big games, but the sense of occasion in a Schools Cup semi-final is quite the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think they spend the whole year training for these. When I was playing, it was quarter-final, semi-final. There was no backdoor, so if you lost your first game, you were gone. I suppose nowadays they have the back door, so it makes it a bit better, but semi-final, it's a bit unfortunate the Christians crowd can't be here today due to a bit of bad behaviour, I'm told, when they beat Praise last year or a couple of weeks back with a glorious crossfield kick. So look, it's just unfortunate they don't get to play in front of their crowd, but I suppose it's the biggest game of the season.
A couple of Christians' parents, cousins and relatives will surely make up the numbers. Johnny Holland, we were speaking before the game. Crescent beating Bandon 36-29 in the quarter-final eliminator and beating Ardskull Reach in a Limerick derby 20 points to 16. On the other hand, Christians have had the bones of a month off after beating PBC. Do you think that has any bearing on the game?
Or we talk about it afterwards, don't we? It's always a factor afterwards. They had more time off or they had less time off. But if it was me, I'd prefer to be playing games. I'd prefer to have played 2 weeks ago. You don't really know after a month where you're at. You have to challenge yourself in different ways through training and everything else, and I'm sure they would have picked things up that they would have done across the last couple of weeks. But again, I think it's always afterwards you start talking about that. They'll both be fairly fresh. They're young fellas. 2 weeks off is plenty, isn't it?
Indeed it is. To the lineups, Christian Brothers College will line out as follows. Benjamin Lynch at full back will be accompanied by Evan Cal Murphy and Christopher Barrett, the try scorer against PBC a month ago. Alex O'Connell and Gavin O'Riordan will make up the centre partnership. Charlie O'Shea, who's been in sensational form, will be partnered by Jack Casey at 9. The loose head is Sam Loftus with Adam Rona, who was a try scorer as well against Prez. Harry Foster plays at tight head. The two Michaels, Doyle and Foy, make up the second row for Christians with Mark Skelly, Daniel Rock and Ainan McCarthy at 8 and captain. The bench from Stephen O'Shaughnessy, Cian Walsh, Dennis Callahan, Conor Kennelly, George Good, Oren Preener, Conor Foley, Leo O'Leary, Ronan O'Keefe and Jack O'Callaghan. Johnny, we spoke before the game about plenty of players which we'll get to in a few moments time, but it's the occasion for guys to make their name today, and Charlie O'Shea at 10 is somebody who is certainly one to look out for.
Absolutely, and you're talking with him there pulling the strings, but I think that's it's a big occasion, and sometimes at this level you think that you have to do it all, so hopefully he'll just play the fellas into the game around him, and I think the system should be better than any fella, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to seeing him pushing his team around the pitch and everything else, but hopefully it's not and I think you do get moments of individual brilliance in these games, but hopefully it's the team running around the pitch first, and then you'll see things opening up in the second half as well.
Duncan, we were speaking about Tommy Crowe, old school direct CBC. Can we expect more of that today, or do you think CBC might have some expansive play up their sleeve?
Yeah, as I kind of said off right there, I think he coached me 21 years ago. So let's hope he's not coaching the same game plan. His rugby's evolved since then. But no, look, Christian's obviously a big physical pack. I've heard good things about Adam Rona. Obviously, number 8, Ainan McCarthy's played under Ireland underage. And just looking at them there, they're quite a big physical looking pack. So I'd imagine Christians will look to play to their strength. I know they have a bit of talent out the back as well, but Gavin O'Riordan and Barrett, I got the try last week, and as you said, the 10 as well. So I hope they don't cripple themselves by just looking to play with that forward pack. Yes, it is a strength, but also look to use the backs as well.
Typical of scrum half, and I now have to say that the forwards won't do the work. Crescent College comprehensive line out as follows: Jeddah Dwyer, Evan Cusack and Josh Boland make up the back three. Ono Callaghan, who had a brace of points from the tee in the win over Ardscoil Reaches at outside centre, partnered by try scorer in the same game Joe McInerney at 12. Ryan Godfrey and Marcus Lyons make up the half-back pairing. Mark Fitzgerald, Conor Cleary and Dennis O'Dwyer make up Comp's front row. Jack Summers and Sean McGee in the engine room. Fionn Casserly, who was a standout last year in last year's final win against Prez, along with Andrew Ahern, and captain Killian Kelly in at number 8. Jonathan Byrne, Carl Lang and Ryan, Conor Ryan, Jordan Power, Charlie Fenton, Cormac Quinn, Michael O'Mara, Oscar Davey, Ben Gallagher and Evan Bennett make up the bench for Crescent College Comprehensive. Johnny Holland, while the atmosphere is building here, we were speaking about Fionn Casserly, Jeddah Dwyer, Mark Fitzgerald, all representatives for Irish under-18s, all guys who played against Prez in last year's final. How important is it that they bring that experience to Cork today?
Yeah, I think that's huge, because the occasion will get to some guys. It's at senior level it gets to them. At professional level it can get to people. So I think having been there last year, some fellas got to taste it from the bench as well last year. Having a bit more experience in the kind of schools, the international schools team, I think that's huge for them as well. But they can give the leadership around the place, but then you'll always get someone who surprises you. Someone will come out on top here that you haven't expected, and there'll be a big performance from them as well. But I think you do need those guys, to bring the bit of calm when things get a bit messy. The crowd is going to be up and it's going to bring a lot of excitement, but you do need those guys to settle it down when it's important and control the pace of the game when they need to.
Duncan, for you, experience, how much does it count on the day?
Yeah, I think it's important to have experience, but I don't think you can just rely on it to win you the games. Experience is not seeing something for the first time, so they train every week, they run moves, they see these moves every week and they practice it. So yes, they've played the big occasions, but they've also seen, even though they haven't played, they've seen these things before. So I think it is important to have it, but I don't necessarily think it'll win you the game by itself.
Time will tell. We're about 4 minutes away from kick-off as the atmosphere is building nicely here. Johnny Holland, you spoke about performance psychology and whatnot between CBC, but we've seen a lot of shoulder rolling, but this is all set up to be a cracker, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I saw Crescent last year in the final, and they play a lot of really good rugby. Like their transitions are really good. Their back play was very good. They run nice and square, and they do hold inside shoulders and everything. So if you take your eyes off them, someone like Jeddah Dwyer at full back, they're very, very good at executing, and they were last year as well. I think Christians are going with a bit of pumping themselves up here, and they're trying to intimidate the opposition, but we'll see how they are when there's movement on the pitch afterwards.
Well, let me tell you, even as a second row forward, well retired, it is very, very nice to be up here in the commentary area than down there in front of that CBC pack as Comp get ready to go in for their huddle before the game. Duncan Williams, what are the kind of messages that will be given to players as we are at knockout stage, and a lot of these guys today, it will be their last game for their school?
Yeah, I think sometimes the kind of gets winning is everything, but I think if they go out with the attitude to try and enjoy it, the win will come with it. I think previously, obviously, as I said before, it used to be quarter final, and if you didn't win, you were gone, so tensions kind of got a bit much and people went into their shell. I think, go out and enjoy it, and that's when you play your best.
And Johnny Holland, we're not quite at the time for score predictions yet, so I will leave you off the hook, but what would be the absolute do's, or the absolute don'ts early on in a game? What would you be looking to avoid?
Well, you're saying to Duncan there, like, what are they going to be told to do below, under the stand underneath us here? But I think it's cup rugby at the end of the day, so you do have to, play the percentages to some degree, but you have to play as well. You can't forget to play in a cup match, so I think the worst thing, and Duncan's saying there, you have to enjoy it or to go to actually play rugby. If you come off the pitch having lost and not played, I think there's a lot of regret there. If you at least play and you lose the game, you can live with yourself a small bit. So I think you have to go to win, you have to be positive, but you have to be pragmatic along the way. You can't play too much rugby in your own half. You have to take your shots at goal when it's on. Maybe you throw the dice when you have a bit of the upper hand, but at the same time it's cup rugby. Duncan's going with the development here, but I think anyone who's on either side, they'll be looking to get the win and live on for another round. So pragmatic cup rugby, but you do have to remember to play as well.
You agree entirely with Johnny's sentiments, Duncan?
Yeah, I think like any of the big games that any of us have ever lost, it's always the ones that we regretted most, of the ones that we didn't fire a shot. So I think they've got to go out there with the attitude that they're going to play to try and win this game, as opposed to stay in it and see what comes of it. So go out and attack from the start.
Joy Neville will be our referee today. Reminder, if there is a draw, that there will be a replay next Tuesday. or Wednesday. The crowd filling up nicely, lads. Again, with getting sentimental all the way back to 2001. John, you're a little bit younger, but
Duncan was showing his age, right? Yeah.
you miss days like this being on the pitch.
Yeah. Look, I suppose these are the glory days back in the day. You know, you're in school. I remember we played a final against Prez when I was in 5th year. It would have been 2003. There was 8,000 or 9,000 people here. They were the good old days, I suppose. It was a final Paddy's Day. Everyone came out that was actually quite a good game as well. And I think there was a good, probably 5 or 6 lads who went on to play in the Munster Academy. Got a few caps from Munster as well. So it was a good quality game.
Duncan always reminds us of his exploits at schools rugby as well, his heyday. I didn't get the opportunity to play here, but Duncan always reminds us.
Yeah. What could have been?
The Crease 3 lads in Turner's Cross are spilling in the gate as well with their Johnny Holland band.
They were banned like the Christians crowd this year, yeah.
A reminder that we will have full coverage in association with the Irish Examiner of the second semi-final tomorrow on air from 1:15 for St Munchin's College against Prez. But we have the small matter of this Pinergy Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final between Crescent College Comprehensive and CBC. Kick-off is fast approaching. At 1:45, there's a slight wind blowing from left to right. It does tend to swirl down on that pitch, and the elements can be a little bit tricky here, lads, as halfbacks.
You said the way the wind was going. I'm not sure I fully believe you, because it's going every different way as well, isn't it?
The flags are going like the clappers over there, and that one's not budging in the other corner, so it's hard to tell.
We've played a few times here now, and it's one of those pitches is always a wind. There's always, just when you think it's going a certain way, it changes on you. So I think every time if you're kicking into this goal, it's going to be different to what it is when you're kicking down there. It's just a different direction altogether. So it's difficult conditions, not a blade of grass to throw up either. So we see how it goes.
Yeah, once the ball gets above the stand there, it always kind of sucks it in towards us as well a bit. So
my mate here in qualifications, lads, didn't actually allow for me to know where the wind was. It actually looks like it's raining over. The main thing is it was beautiful on the Part motorway coming down from Limerick. A little bit of mind games potentially here from both sides before they come back out, but a sizable crowd from Crescent to our left, and a few of the CBC Ultras have snuck into the right hand side with flags. The CBC are led out by Captain Éanna McCarthy, and lads, I know we commented on it before the game, but for 18-year-olds the sheer size of this Christians team is formidable.
Yeah, they're a big side, aren't they? They weren't that size when I was there, so you'll see if they can use that now to their advantage. But it's always going to be a case of big physical side in a cup game and a knockout game. They will have the upper hand, so we'll see how they use it.
And I know we spoke about it before the game, Johnny, but do you expect a little bit of shadow boxing early doors? We know that Christians, with the size of them, have been very direct in previous games. We spoke to Tommy Crowe before the game that they played against Congos. He kept very tight-lipped about they played in that game, but we're expecting expansive rugby against Crescent, so something's going to have to give.
Yeah, I think there will be a bit of shadow boxing, and sometimes in these games it takes something to go wrong or someone to get the upper hand for the opposition to start playing, and all of a sudden the game opens up a bit. I think if you're looking at Crescent and they're facing up against that Christians pack, maybe they already know they have to move them, and like I said last year, they were well able to move the ball, well able to play attacking rugby, so they're going to have to use their strengths in that sense as well and move Christians around the pitch. But will Christians have the ability to slow that game down or do whatever they want and control the pace until they decide to open up as well? So it's going to be interesting to see what the opening exchanges bring as well. Yeah,
just with this type of pitch as well, obviously Christians pack, if they get any bit of go forward, it's hard to get back to parity when you're on this 4G. Any team that gets a good go forward and keeps the ball quick, it's hard to get back in the fight.
The dreaded score predictions, lads, I'm going to have to ask you there. So we'll start with the independent Crease 3 former student Johnny Holland.
If I don't go with Christians as a Cork man, I think I'm going to be giving it all away. So I'll go with Christians. God knows what score there's going to be, but let's go 30-24 for a big high-scoring game on a 4G pitch.
Duncan?
I'll follow Johnny's suit as he's the boss, so I'll say Christians as well, 24-20.
Let's hope for a high-scoring game. As you said, Joy Neville in the middle. CBC's Charlie O'Shea has the ball in hand. 35 minutes aside, and we're underway in this Pinergy Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final. Ball taken by Kelly, and Godfrey doesn't quite find touch. Well fielded again by McCarthy, the captain, and a big carry as Christians find themselves 5 metres inside the Crescent half. Carry by Loftus there. Nice little short line. The Crescent seem to have disrupted from that, and you can see the lift it's given them early doors.
Yeah, I think Adam Ronan is going into contact there, trying to get himself into the game, but fellas around him were on a slightly different page. Crescent were able to swarm all over him and cause a small bit of a knock on, so there's the early nerves out of the way. We can start to play now.
Yeah, a bit of a one out runner there. That's Christians can't keep doing that, it'll spell a bit of trouble for them.
First scrum's always a big one, isn't it? We'll see what the weight of the pack is going to give to Christians now.
Set.
Loud, clear calling from Neville. The ball is in the hands. It's Crescent look to move it out the back. It's a lovely little half break there. Joe McInerney, a try scorer against Swords, could reach in the quarter-finals. Crescent intent on playing through captain Killian Kelly again. Seen plenty of the ball early. It's a lovely little pass out wide, but a judge to have gone forward, and Johnny Holland, as we said, expansive play from Crescent.
Yeah, that was tight.
Yeah.
If I was the coach there, I don't know what I'd be thinking, but that was tight. We're right in line with that. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but that was a decent pass over the top.
Early warning signs there for Christians. They need to get their fold around the corner a bit better, a bit snappier. Crescent really beating them around the corner there.
Second scrum in as many minutes. Crescent showing, trying to play enterprising rugby. Charlie O'Shea has a little chat with his outside centre, Alex Connell, as to what they will do. Feed from Casey to O'Shea. It's at the back, and it's a great read from Old Crescent's outside centre. Owen O'Callaghan there as the wind picks up, and Crescent with an early opportunity here.
First arriving players.
O'Callaghan was hitting 50 plus metres towards the Dolphin end, but at risk of Johnny Holland calling out my weather predictions, I'm not sure if he'll
I was just thinking the wind is coming from left to right at me here, but the wind and the flag is going the other way, so I'm not sure what he's going to do. Don't trust me to judge it either.
Godfrey taking no chances. That probably does show how difficult that wind is swirling around, but Crescent will have a line out and a first attacking platform inside the Christians' half. As the hooker Cleary waits for his call.
No huddles. Step it in. Step in, Blue. Step in, Blue.
You hear Joy Neville telling no huddles. Crescent elect to go for a 6+1. Line out Andrew Ahern, loitering outside in the back line. Well read by Christians, but it's a knock-on advantage for Crescent, and they will get a chance to play here. It's a nice little kick in behind. Out on the full and no advantage and back for a scrum.
I think Joy Neville there giving plenty of communication as well. It's good to hear, isn't it? And trying to speed the game up. No more huddles at lineouts. We're always talking about it. A meeting before all the lineouts. We don't understand it. We just want to get the ball into play, but it's good to see speed up the game.
It's good to see such a top quality ref doing the game. I remember, it was how many years ago, my final that we played against Prez, it was Dave McHugh actually refed it.
Yeah.
He was still international ref at the time. Maybe he was just finishing up, but it makes a big difference.
Really showing your age there, Duncan.
Yeah.
He keeps doing it.
Early engaged there, and Crescent look to move it through McInerney again.
Backwards. Stay.
Good carry there from Jack Summers. Very abrasive in the contact. Crescent staying close on the clear out. It's great attacking the line there again by Godfrey. Pulling the strings early doors. Ball is in hands of Jeddo Dwyer. Son of Anthony was involved in that superb Crescent team with a certain David Wallace in the early 90s.
I think he actually lost it there, did he?
No hands.
Christians making a nuisance of themselves at the breakdown, but referee Neville gave the warning. The advice wasn't heeded, and Crescent with a second penalty in as many minutes in the Christians' half.
Yeah, and you asked beforehand, what do you not do? Give away penalties, so it's just going to give more easy entry. If they are into the wind, it's giving them cheap possession now that Christians aren't going to be able to use possession while they've got the wind,
Godfrey puts Crescent camp about 8.5 metres from the Christians' line. Christians' jumpers did get up in the form of Michael Doyle to disrupt earlier on. The wind is a little bit swirling, and Crescent's movement on the ground was perhaps a little bit slow for forwards coach Lee Nicholas earlier on. They go to 2 in the tail. Christians
Ball, stay.
look to challenge, but Crescent
Oh,
have been turned over. It's a great carry there by Lucid. Sam Loftus.
He just plucked the ball out, didn't he?
yeah.
Off your feet.
Legality at Malls.
Crescent have been very dangerous to break down here. Then I got another poach there.
Stop inside.
O'Shea. High hanging kick. He's given O'Dwyer space, and O'Dwyer does like the broken field, but it's well marshalled by the Christians defence as they swarm around him.
Stay.
Lions again at 9.
All the Christians forwards are together on this side here. If Crescent could expose it.
Captain Kiley. Out to Godfrey again. Crescent looking to play expansive ball. Christians very, very aggressive at breakdown. Cries of offside. Summers again. He's got through good work early doors.
Advantage. Off your feet. Going down.
Referee Neville says advantage off feet. And we will come back for a penalty. And Johnny Holland, that's 3 penalties that we've seen Christians give away in the opening 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's 3 penalties. I thought that one was harsh enough. I'd like to have another look at it, but the captain Aidan McCarthy nearly had another one, nearly had a turnover earlier, so they're clearly trying to get the ball back. They're defending to get the ball back. They're just possibly getting it slightly wrong now, and it's going to take its toll. You can see they're being spoken to here as well, so Joy Neville won't put up with that for very long, and in a game like this you don't need to give a numerical advantage or a territorial advantage early on.
Duncan, as much as Christians are giving away these chances, we spoke about things not going right for people in reviews after when you lose a game, but Crescent will need to take those opportunities in the 22 with Malls. They don't want to be coughing up possession in prime positions like that.
Yeah, I suppose as you said there, they won't get many more opportunities, but Christians actually did quite well. They stole the ball out of the maul, played a few phases, kicked, but then put themselves back under pressure again by giving away a penalty here on their own 10 again. So it's, when you get out, you got to stay out and not just keep inviting pressure back in yourself.
Owen O'Callaghan tells Killian Kelly he fancies 3 points. O'Callaghan was imperious with the boot against Ardscoil Reach, particularly in the second half, kicking under pressure, being rewarded with a place today in a semi-final.
He kicked in the warm-up from here, and it looked like it was tailing off to the left, so we'll see if he can judge the wind a little bit here.
Oh, no hanging around.
Run from O'Callaghan. And it's gone just to the right. Christians just about managed to clear that. Bit of a short run up from O'Callaghan. Johnny didn't quite catch it to the right, but they have a line on the 22 here.
Ben Healy style, wasn't it? Set it up, step back and boot it.
Time off, captain.
It looked like he possibly overcompensated if he was going the other side in the warm-up. No, I didn't see all his kicks, but I definitely saw one going to the left, and he's trying to correct that and just gone slightly right. It's happened to all of us. Let's see if he can get it right the next time.
On me.
Cleary again, Crescent's third liner of the afternoon. They've tended to go towards the front where Christians have stacked. They elect to go to 2 again, and it's taken by Captain Kelly again as a maul. About 3 metres from the touchline.
That's one. Stop. Stay. Use it 9.
O'Callaghan with a very good carry there. Godfrey marshalling his troops very well at 10, telling his forwards to carry. It's Summers with the carry. Christians going very hard at the breakdown. Godfrey again. Runs down a bit of a rabbit hole there. Christians doing very well to defend and camp just outside the 22. Kelly again met well by Christians, but the breakdown work from camp has been very, very good. The hands of
Use it 9.
the ball is in the hands of back rower Fionn Casserly again, has played some of his rugby at second row. Godfrey, lovely little 2-on-1, but it's well marshalled by CBC. Camp with a lot of the ball early doors, but Christians defence standing firm.
Good defensive sets, aren't they? I think the ball was slowed down. Joy Neville was even questioning why the ball wasn't being used in attack at that stage, slowing their own ball down, but it looked like they were trying to keep it nice and tight and start to punch through the Christians' defence, but Christians had the answers for them there.
Yeah, I think Crescent can still play it nice and tight, but they can play the tempo of the ball there. I think the ball is there to be played and the 9 is waiting for the forwards to come round. If he just gets on his bike, they'll come around with him and he can offer a bit more of a threat. It was a bit easy for Christians to defend there.
Lovely flight of dart from Adam Rona to hit Michael Doyle at the tail of the line-up with Christians. Interestingly, CBC electing to go to the tail while Crescent's 3 line-outs have went to the front, but decent exit from CBC as O'Shea finds his opposite number, Godfrey, to O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer has a little look up and says, let's go. And O'Dwyer goes well, finds his winger on the outside, it's Cusack. Cusack making ground up the left-hand side. Looks like a small bit of a seatbelt tackle there, and Neville, the referee, says there, but the pre-game chat, Johnny, you're on the money. Crescent here to play, and Jed O'Dwyer, the epitome of that.
Yeah, and I think like if you're going to kick the ball to Jed O'Dwyer there, you're going to have a connected line coming up, because he is looking to play. They got away down that left-hand touch line in different circumstances a while ago, and obviously have put Christians under a small bit of pressure to force a kind of a scramble tackle, which obviously is illegal, and it's given another entry now. Good
variety in attack there. Duncan O'Shea's kick coming down the left-hand touchline and then moving over to the other side.
Yeah, it was good to see them looking to counter-attack. As I said, they're looking like they're going to have to try and win the game here as opposed to wait and see what happens. So good crisp passing as well, got it to the other side of the pitch.
The ball in the hands of Conor Cleary, the hooker for Crescent. The fourth liner of the afternoon on a 2-3 split. Summers takes the ball at the tail, and Crescent are on the move. CBC have done well to stifle that as Crescent reload on the blind side. It's a good carry by the loose head. Mark Fitzgerald, a try scorer against Ard Sculreach in the quarter-final a number of weeks ago. Screams of red around the corner from Marcus Lyons. Some calls don't change for any team over the years. Lyons again. Andrew Ahern. Christians, as we said, competing very hard over that gain line. And so Dwyer out the back, and the ball is in the hands of Evan Cusack on this side. Two Christians people on this side as the Crescent fans to our left say roll away. Good footwork pre-contact there from Casserly, with Christians defending. Very evident that they're looking to chop and clamp in D set. Summers potentially had numbers outside him, but he's met by wonderful Christians defence there. Loose head Sam Loftus again. He's got through some amount of work in the opening 10 minutes. Slower ball now for Crescent as Lyons goes through. Nice little offload there, an interplay through the back row. And some smart play from Lyons and a wry smile from Duncan Williams, who would have potentially done the exact same thing in that situation.
I was laughing beforehand because Joy Neville's on his case as well, tell him to play the tempo of the ball, I'd say, more than anything. But smart play there by him, milking the penalty.
But you can see Crescent have gone to 5+ and 6+ lineouts for all of them, haven't they? So they're looking to use their maul, whatever they've seen in Christians, or maybe they're just trying to set themselves up. And then they're looking to actually keep it nice and tight, like Duncan has said, until they throw the pass and they're using the hit as a bit of a screen and going out the back of him in the boot in the second line of attack. And they have gotten soft edges on both sides now, so they're keeping it tight until they pull the trigger. And you spoke about a bit of shadow boxing. There's all of a sudden an extra little pass, an extra tip on inside in those pods, so they're starting to feel their way into the game now.
Joy Neville had a conversation with CBC captain Éanna McCarthy there, presumably about the 6 penalties they've given away in the opening 9.5 minutes, and Crescent now really need to make this pressure pay with a line out about 6.5-7 metres from the Christians line.
Is that 6-1 in penalties or 6-0?
But if you're the Christians defensive coach, you're very happy with their defensive sets, except the entries that they keep giving back, the cheaper penalties, so they've had all the answers besides when they're giving the penalties away and leaving them back into their own territory,
Summers goes for the call, but it's well picked off by Michael Foy. Christians seem to have done their homework at set piece, turning over 2 of Crescent's 4 lineouts in O'Shea. A high kick, but Godfrey, the 10, has really fielded that well, and it's a Dwyer. But you could hear clearly there, Joy Neville had said that Christian's hookers, Adam Rona, was offside on the way, was in front of Charlie O'Shea, and that's a silly penalty to be given away.
They'd just gotten out, hadn't they? So
similar to the maul up on the other side of the pitch there, when they turn over the maul, they kick and then give away another penalty again fairly quickly and just invited the pressure back on them.
A lot of opening pressure from Crescent in this opening 10 minutes.
I think it's encouraging for Christians that they're not being beaten yet. Like, they have a bit of an answer at set piece. They're stopping them all. Besides one went forward. They've cut out a few lineouts. They've stripped the ball out of them all. They've been very solid in defence. They've actually got a lot of dominant hits as well. Sam Loftus had a big one there in particular. But this pressure will tell at some stage.
Malfunction at the Crescent lineup. We will play advantage, and Crescent sniped through. Scrum half Foley gets his forwards to take over. It's a good carry there again and clear out. Lyons himself has a little dart. He's well taken there. Summers again with a good carry. Big emphasis from Christians on the tackle and chop again, even in their 22. They're living dangerously. Cleary met by a brick wall and Christians again through captain Éanna McCarthy going very well. And it's O'Callaghan, a lovely little step, rangy footwork, and a lovely little backhanded offload to his centre partner there. O'Callaghan plays at 9. It's his number 7, Andrew O'Hearn. Crescent building phases in the 22 here as the ball is slowed down. Carry again close in. Summers with a lovely little hand. Deft touch from the big man in the middle. Does very well to clear out. And captain Éanna McCarthy.
He's going to go to the bin here, I think, but he's actually been very good in the breakdown. It's probably a tight one. He has to do something for his team.
The emphasis for people watching, lads, on that, and the defensive set there, it's very evident that Christians are looking to actually chop and the next guy in is going. But if you were the coach, are you telling those guys to just leave the ruck alone a little bit? Because the penalty count is absolutely insane in the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think they've probably gotten on the wrong side of Joy Neville, rightly or wrongly, at the moment. So I think maybe give 5-10 minutes where you say, look, lads, concentrate on the tackle, leave the ball alone. They're not really causing us trouble very much, so we can just leave them have the ball and defend.
Cleary gives early, and Crescent with a nice little trick player, just 2 metres short now. Ball is in the hands of Summers. He goes back. It's a good carry by Crescent, and it's not down, and it's turned over. And it's an unbelievable clearance kick from CBC's second row. The ball looked like it was lost in contact going over the line, but the quick reactions of second row Michael Foy means they survive in this occasion, and that is, well, it's a missed opportunity for Comp. It's a massive bit of relieving play for Christians.
Yeah, just there before the penalty, Owen O'Callaghan made a little kind of half break, a 5-7 metre kind of break, but it was Lyons that played the tempo of the ball there, kept the speed on it rather than slowing it down like he had done previously. So I think for Crescent that's a bit of an eye-opener to see that if the ball's there to be played, let's go and move it, and that's when you start causing trouble.
We spoke about experience before the game and what it stands for. Éanna McCarthy's obviously a big player for them and captain. And there, Michael Foy just steps up and relieves a bit of pressure, so he's taking the boots of Éanna McCarthy here now and leading the team a small bit. Forwards
with big moments as Andrew O'Hearn takes the line out and Crescent set up, but
it's on the short side here.
Turnover with Christians, and they're slowly growing in with 2 big moments there, as you rightly said, Duncan, with the loss of their captain to the bin for a couple of moments. But Christians now with an opportunity to exit their lines again, and Crescent will be kicking themselves with the amount of possession they had, but no points to show for it.
Exactly, and if you flip this around, like, Christians have sucked up all the pressure, but they've had all the answers, and Crescent haven't been able to get a score on the board, which is going to frustrate them. Nearly 20 minutes into the game, all the possession, all the territory, and they haven't had anything to show for it. Christians will get their time. It looks like the possession is going to be played in that half for a while, so if Crescent are going to go on to win this game, they're going to have to find something soon.
7v7 in the scrum by virtue of underage rugby. As we said, Captain McCarthy is in the bin. Little bit of the dark arts from Christians trying to waste a bit of time perhaps here.
Set.
As Jack Casey feeds. Ball is at the base. O'Shea has a chat. Took his eyes off that perhaps, but the ball is adjudged to have went backwards, and O'Shea does very well.
It's a great kick.
O'Dwyer again has been very elusive. Beats the first man and the second. Lovely little offload to O'Callaghan. Christians going very hard after the breakdown.
That was coming.
Great tackle by Carl Murphy there to shut that down.
Yeah, I think that breakdown penalty was coming. They've had a load of bites at it, and they were possibly unlucky on a good few of them. But now they're after getting their way up the pitch, and all of a sudden they have a kick at goal to go ahead, which was very unlikely only a couple of minutes ago. You can see the Christians' defence is actually very connected, isn't it?
Yeah.
When someone hits, the other fella's hitting in outside them. They've got a lot of 2-man hits. They're not going to be beaten too easily here, I'd say.
The one thing, even though like Crescent had all that pressure, Christians never seemed rattled after all the penalties. They seemed fairly composed, and I suppose here now they have a chance to go 3-0 up.
Cup rugby, as Johnny Holland said, Crescent have pretty much owned the ball for the first 15 minutes, but CBC's tenacity at the breakdown has given Benjamin Lynch the opportunity to put the Cork side in the lead here in Musgrave Park. Decent connection, but just to the right and wide. Tricky conditions, Johnny, even though from the cameras it may appear it's pristine down there, but both kickers missing their first kick, but just narrowly in both cases.
I think tricky environment as well. He was put under a small bit of pressure from the stands, so he'll be disappointed with that one. It'll be nice to silence the crowd when he gets an opportunity again.
Ryan Godfrey with the 22 dropout. Lands just inside the Christians' half in the hands of Lynch, looking to make amends. A little dink over the top. Where's it going to bounce? Huge collision with Lyons at 9.
Use it 12.
Joy Neville very clear in her communication all afternoon here. And Crescent just looked to down the tempo as we look for a box kick potentially. Lyons right-footed, it's going to come back in, and Lynch feels very, very well. Crescent player wary not to take him in the air.
We spoke about Nines buying penalties. That was a nice bit there from Jack Casey.
It's a good dive.
You see, Crescent actually did very well to be aware of their 22. They set the forward pod inside the 22, haven't been outside it, so more contact in the 22 means that the ball is now in the 22 to clear off the pitch, and if they had done so, they wouldn't be looking at potentially being 3-0 down now.
Lynch will have a second opportunity about 15 metres to the left of his miss a few moments ago. Interestingly, Ian Sherwin of the Crescent Camp coaching staff remonstrating with one or two of his players, perhaps saying that that box kick could have went off the pitch.
You speak about cup games and moments and what they're going to be told to do. I think the ball going off the pitch to reset would be a big one.
Backs tend to do what they want on the pitch, lads. Unfortunately, it's only forwards who follow guidelines.
They have to be told.
Lynch lines it up again. Tricky enough wind. Strikes it well, does Lynch, and this one is straight through the posts, and Christians lead in this Munster School Senior Cup semi-final 3-0 after 18.5 minutes. Johnny Holland, a difficult kick, but well struck by Lynch.
Yeah, it was very well struck, and I think his first strike was very nice as well. You can see his slow rotation in the ball. It's evident of a good solid strike, but I'm actually quite happy for him. Anytime that's getting a bit of pressure from the sideline, it's nice to be able to silence that. But I'm just laughing at myself here. We're speaking about a big high scoring game. We're 3-0 and there's 19 match minutes played, so we'll see how it goes.
The game will explode into life yet. There's a good long kick by Godfrey into the right hand corner for Christians, who reset. Just over 3 minutes left on the bin for Captain McCarthy as Loftus with another massive carry.
Inside.
Lou said is a really powerful young fella, as O'Shea sends O'Dwyer backtracking but feels very, very well. Finds his out half, Godfrey. Kind of an unorthodox kick.
Sure,
Yeah, I think there was prize for it being touched, but might have gotten that one wrong.
Jack Summers speaking to the touch judge, thinking the ball was touch, bit of an honest mistake, but again, much like Crescent getting a litany of penalties early doors, it seems like Christians are tagging on nicely here.
They haven't really had a chance to attack, have they? So they have an opportunity here now to start launching off a line out.
And McCarthy getting to come back on now as well.
Schools rugby sin bin is shorter than than the pro game for anybody. You might think that CBC having in with the fourth official here, but the officiating has been top notch thus far, as hooker Adam Rona,
Take a step, right?
as we said, a try scorer in that enthralling game against Prez. And it's well stolen by Summers, who makes amends for his offside penalty. Both sides having done their homework on their lineouts early doors. It's Lyons' high hanging kick. Christians claim it through McCarthy. Does very, very well. Face of 2 or 3 Crescent players. And it's Rona again with a carry. Ferocious contest at the breakdown, both sides. O'Shea. And the ball is claimed by Crescent. Through the back row, Fionn Casserly does very well. Summers got through a hell of an amount of work in the first 21 minutes.
Stay.
Cries of keep the width from the Crescent coaching staff, but manhandled by a Christians player in that right hand touchline. And Christians again proved to be a nuisance at the breakdown, and Joy Neville says
First wide and clear.
Is that Michael Foy manhandling people there? Was it?
it might be high scoring at the moment, lads, but it's certainly intriguing to see what way it's going.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. It'll get to 30.
You've a long way to go to get your score.
Lynch sends the match ball out over the stands, and Christians will have a line out 5 metres inside the old Crescent half. I suppose the cries from the neutrals lads will be to see teams go through phase play, but we just haven't seen that quite yet.
And that's what happens in these games, though, isn't it? You know, there are penalty concessions and 1 or 2 mistakes. I don't think there's been too many errors, but I think if we can see a few more phases. I think Crescent had a lot of phases, to be fair to them, when they had their hands on the ball. We haven't really seen Christians open up yet.
Messy line out from Christians, but Rona again clears up. Ball goes out. Doyle again with a good carry. O'Shea calls for the blind side, and the ball goes in, and it's left by out half Ryan Godfrey. And Crescent now under a little bit of pressure will have to secure the line out to get an exit, but decent play from Christians there.
Yeah, we spoke with Cup Rugby, didn't we, and being a small bit more pragmatic, and they've just put themselves in a decent position to put Crescent under a small bit of pressure now.
Crescent electing for a 6+1 line out. They go to the front, and it's well taken as they set them all. McCarthy and Doyle doing their best to pester scrum half Lyons, whose right footed kick just brings play just outside the 22, and Christians and Charlie O'Shea will be very happy with this attacking platform.
Yeah, hopefully now they can execute the line out and get good clean ball. They've had a bit of disruption there the last couple, so be interested to see what they can do after this.
The dark arts, as we said, with the line out,
I'm off. Injury.
as an injury is called, but still that little bit of shadow boxing, Johnny. Not really massive tempo to come into the game yet.
No, and it'll be. I suppose both teams are still in the game, obviously, but there's a slight advantage to Christians if we're looking at those conditions. It doesn't feel like it up here, but the way the game has been played, you would think that Crescent have had a bit better luck in the first half with the conditions. Like, they were able to play a bit more ball. So if Christians get their hands on the ball as much as that, they'll be hoping that they can convert and pull away a small bit more.
Change for the Crescent College comprehensive team. Charlie Fenton comes into the fray. We're yet to see the number of the Crescent player coming
7,
off.
Andrew Ahern, is it?
Taken at the tail by Christians, and their rolling maul is on the move here as Crescent scramble to get in, and it's brought straight to ground, and Christians will have an opportunity here, you would imagine, to stretch their lead by a further 3 points.
I'd like to see them go down the line. Yeah, I think
they've
they've had
got it,
the upper hand here. We speak about playing cup rugby, but when you get the opportunity to convert, they're looking to gamble.
Benjamin Lynch lands Christian 6 metres from the comp line. Crescent and Christians did meet in the Munster Schools group stage before Christmas.
On the line.
Crescent were victorious.
Discipline, please.
Christians were victorious in that scenario, and their maul was very, very powerful. Ball taken by Foy, and it's a great set at the front of the line-out, and Christians are moving towards here. The ball is with Rona, and Rona gets the first try of this Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final here in Musgrave Park, and Johnny Holland, Christians back themselves to go to the corner and take full advantage.
Yeah, I think when many years ago when Duncan was playing the game, when we were playing the game, it would have been 3-6-9 and you would have been killed for doing something like that. But that's the way the game is going. They had the upper hand. They've finally got their hands on the ball for a sustained period of time, and they backed themselves to go to the corner, and they've gotten the rewards for that.
Yeah, I think in these kind of big cup games, I think scoring tries is what wins you the games. I don't think you can rely on just 3-6-9 anymore. I think all the teams reference that they need to score tries to win these competitions.
The new age of playing. CBC would be delighted with the opening 25 minutes, having soaked up all the pressure thrown from Crescent and getting the big moments right thus far, as Lynch lines this up. 2 from 3 thus far. Difficult kick for a right-footed kicker. Strikes it well, but it tails away to the left and wide, and CBC now 2 scores ahead. Johnny Holland, which is massive in terms of knockout rugby.
Oh, it is, and I think you can look at Crescent and their ability to throw the ball around. Jetta Dwyer's look very dangerous, but at the end of the day, Christians look to have a more dominant set piece, and it's the fundamentals of the game that are getting them by here. So 8-0, and they've got a little bit of breathing space.
They probably have turned with the wind at their backs, so in the second half it probably helped them as well. Although it might encourage Crescent, the fact that they have to play a bit more, they'll hold on to the ball and maybe run it a bit better as well. So
high hanging kick from Godfrey, finds his opposite number O'Shea, puts the ball into the stands, and Crescent, who haven't had a lot of the ball in the last 10 minutes, now have an opportunity before the half with a line out on the 10-metre line, and
I think that's good game management. We saw Crescent earlier on not getting the ball off the pitch, and it resulted in a penalty for Christians, and they went 3-0 up. Christians just have gotten the ball off the pitch there, and it makes a big difference. They're able to set their defensive line and control the pace of the game, like we said before.
Crescent's back row player Fionn Casserly throwing into the line-out. The ball is stolen very well by back rower Daniel Rock, a try scorer in the quarter-final win over Prez. But as the team of ferocious breakdown work continues, Crescent do very well and will have another opportunity to potentially go down the line here. Fascinating encounter at the line-outs, lads, but we'll go over that at half-time with the scrum half and out half. Yeah.
at least it wasn't scrums.
Godfrey lands Crescent just outside the 22 here. As Fionn Casserly readies himself, the ball stolen in the middle of the line-out by Christians just a few moments ago. It's a 5-man line-out for Crescent, lining up some big heavy hitters in midfield. Summers takes the ball, a great dart from Casserly, and the ball is moved out the back to McInerney. Good carry by Ahern to land Crescent. It's Captain Kelly again, who sits down his opposite number. McCarthy, they've had a ding-dong battle in this first half as Summers. He's tackled very well by Christian's inside centre Gavin O'Riordan. As Crescent move it out into the wide channel. Christian's line staying connected defensively. Big 3 or 4 minutes before the end of the half. Out the back of Summers to Kelly. Carried well into contact by Dennis O'Dwyer. Godfrey. O'Dwyer looked very, very sharp on the ball. Godfrey hit hard by Christians and he's holding his leg. Good carry there by replacement Charlie Fenton. And Crescent now with phases. Huge collisions here just underneath the posts, 10 metres from the Christians line. Godfrey moves it across to Cusack, but the ball bounces off the chest. And another opportunity for Crescent gone.
A touch of Will Connors there off Danny Rock there for Christians, the blue scrum cap, chopping anything that moves. he's really getting at the 10 as well, putting pressure on him.
Duncan, you spoke about the connectivity between Christians. Their line speed and their defensive sets have been very, very, very impressive. They haven't been pinged for offside. The defensive penalties that have come from the breakdown, and they're proven very, very difficult to be broke down.
Yeah, as you said yourself earlier in the game, I think they obviously have a low tackle focus, so their first aim is to get the guy on the ground, and the next man in will try and get a poach or cause a bit of trouble inside the breakdown and slow down the ball, and I think that is working quite well for them. As I just said, Daniel Rock said shades of Will Connor off in there. He's lassoing lads around the ankles and getting them on the ground and giving the next man entry into the poach.
I think the only weakness in Christians there is that they're so solid through the middle. The way to beat them might be on an edge, and I think it was on there if he went through the hands that the pass might have gone to hand, and it was a 3v2. They've shown a couple of weaknesses on the Christian edges like that, so they might get their opportunity yet.
Casey uses his centre row Reardon to bash up. Charlie O'Shea giving the orders. It's a pass over his head, and there's a block down. Where's it going to bounce? The ball is gone dead, and that's half time as Joy Neville blows up a frantic first half. Christians lead by 8-0. Johnny Holland, sum up that first half.
Yeah, I think just a very long period of sustained pressure from Crescent, but they weren't able to convert into any scores, and I think that's going to be quite demoralising for them going into half time 8-0 down. Christians eventually turned the tide after close to 20 minutes, and they've used their pack to get themselves back into the game, and their set piece, their maul, and Adam Rona get in for the try. So looks to be a little bit of physical dominance, although Crescent have come back into the back end of the half.
Yeah, I think in terms of Crescent, it's more kind of lost opportunities. They got a lot of entries into Christians 22, didn't capitalise on them, and then Christians got out of their half probably 2 or 3 times and came away with 8 points. So I suppose efficiency from Christians' point of view in attack, but again, Christians will need to improve their efficiency getting out of their 22 because they've kept inviting pressure back on themselves, albeit Crescent didn't capitalise on it, but it's only a matter of time, I would say.
Johnny Holland, it certainly won't be panic stations for Crescent, but if your team is 8 points down in this semi-final, what's your message for the first 10-15 minutes of the second half?
I think you have to, think about what, not to be negative on it, but I think you have to think about what you can't do. You can't give entries, you can't give penalties, you have to have a good defensive line like Christians have shown besides the entries. But I think if they can claw that back to 1 score, you said it was a 2-score game, if they can work their way into the game, think about the next action, think about how they're going to get that score. Instead of thinking, geez, 8 points is a long way to climb after having a whole half attacking, I think about the way you're going to get back into it. How do you need to play the game up in their half? How are you going to get those entries again? And when you get them, I think they are going to convert at some stage. So stay patient, but try and get your way back into the right territory, and all of a sudden they're going to be looking to get that score that they desperately need now. Yeah,
I think that's the point. They don't need to change massively what they're doing. They're getting the opportunities. It's just when they get those opportunities now, they need to, I suppose, address the errors that they've made and just capitalise on what pressure they're putting on in there. As I said, you can't defend. I suppose Christians probably defended for long periods of times there. They can't continue doing that for the whole game, and so Crescent just need to keep doing what they're doing and maybe just tighten up slightly on the errors that they've made.
And in terms of Christians, they'll obviously be very, very happy with taking their chances. It's pretty much more the same from Tommy Crowe and Ian Dunn at half-time.
I think you look at Christians, if that weather is, if the wind is going in their direction in the second half, I think you'll see Charlie O'Shea use his boot a small bit more, like he did on the far right hand side there, the opposite side to us. He'll do that again in this half, and I think if he finds corners and they can use their defensive line out like they have in the first half, all of a sudden get into an attacking position with their maul, their strong pack, that's going to be it's easier to play that game on the front foot now, isn't it? 8-0, they're going to be able to go a little bit less expansive. They're going to be able to kick into corners, put pressure on in there, and all of a sudden our high scoring game might be gone, because they don't really need to do it. They just need to tip away, get the next score. It could go 11-0. All of a sudden it's a long way back when you're facing into conditions like that.
Just what the spectator needs, less expensive.
Well, it's funny we say that, because we referenced the CBC PBC semi-final two years ago when Ben O'Connor scored last play of the game, and Christians did play expansive that day. So I think Tommy Crowe and co, we have seen in the first half there that expansive probably isn't a word in their dictionary at the moment, but at the same time they're very, very good at the basics, and we saw with the kicking into the corner and along with the penalties, so it's very much going to be more of the same. So maybe it isn't going to be 30-24, but I suppose the phrase, lads, is just don't get bored of the basics.
100%, and I think their defence is probably typifying that at the moment. Their defence is very solid, 2-man hits. I think Mark Skelly's doing a lot of dirty working around the tackle area. I think Danny Rock, like Duncan has said, is doing a lot of chopping. Aina McCarthy has big moments, but Michael Foy in the second row as well. They've got a lot of big players at the moment that are doing their job, maybe just going about it quietly, and they're getting two-man hits and stopping the go forward ball of Crescent. But we did see Crescent, like you said about Prez 2 years ago, the way they beat them in the last minute. Crescent have the ability here to be able to throw some passes. One phase of play needs to stick, and all of a sudden, at this level where fellas will start to, might become a small bit more disjointed. If they get one score, if they can open up the game a small bit, all of a sudden the nerves kick back in. It's still a cup game, it's a semi-final, it's knockout. So if they can do that and throw the cat amongst the pigeons a small bit more, if you get Jed O'Dwyer around the edge, putting away his wingers, I think one score could really open it up.
It is cliched, Duncan, but how important is the next score?
Yeah, well, I think obviously if Christians get the next score, that's a 3-score game there, which obviously piles the pressure back on Crescent. But look, as I say, Crescent obviously like to hold on to the ball as well, so playing into a bit of a wind might encourage them to play more, and you never know what could happen. The longer they hold on to the ball, the more pressure Christians will be under, and as I said, Christians had defended for long periods at the moment, so that could take its toll later in the game as well.
Not quite go for broke yet, as we're about 3 or 4 minutes away from the start of the second half. Johnny Holland, in terms of an attacking masterclass, what would you do if you were come to try and break down this resolute Christians defence?
Well, I think if you're looking at their bench, Oscar Davies, a cup winner, he's a schools player, an Irish schools player. So whether you're putting him straight on at 10 or whether you're using him as a second distributor, if you're going to look to use that or move that Christians pack around the place, I think that's a bit of a wild card that they can throw at it. He's a big kicking, big boot, big kicking game last year against Prez. So if you're facing into a win, then you're going to struggle to get territory. Then I think he's a guy that you can bring in. But yeah, I think Crescent have a great attacking mindset. They've been quite good last year as well, like I said. So you're looking just to get them into space, move that pack around, and all the time when you're playing against a bigger pack, you're going to start to you have to question their fitness, you have to question their mobility, you have to move them around the pitch to see if you can create a few more creaks in that defence, because at the moment there's not enough of them.
Yeah, they've actually created a bit of space on the wider channels as well, as you said. It's just that last pass that hasn't stuck, so that should give them a bit of confidence. And as I said, into the wind it's easier to move the ball as well, so maybe they'll have identified that and try and go for that a little bit more.
You're suggesting, Johnny Holland, that backs are fitter than forwards, which is largely true.
It depends on the forward. There's an outlier. Yeah.
It depends on what type of fitness.
Yeah, we won't speculate on numbers on that. As we said, the second half is coming up in just a few moments' time. Today's coverage is in association with the Irish Examiner for the Pinergy Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final. There's a little bit of tension in the air, lads. You can hear with Crescent to our left-hand side. The Christians fans a lot quieter, obviously, with the lack of attendance, but we can expect tension to play a part in this, and as you said, if Crescent can manage to get a score, they will come back into the game. That crowd come in and people start to get nervous.
Well, that's it, that crowd are going to come back into the game. At the moment they're a small bit quieter because it is a 2-score game, but if the Crescent team can give them something to shout about, they will get it behind them, and it's all of a sudden going to feel very tense for the Christians players.
I was expecting a bit of the Wheelstone Raider for you got no fans. It didn't come though.
Killian Kelly leads the Crescent team out after the wise words of Ian Sherwin, Lee Nicholas and co. Christians taking their time on the way out, but
the right duel between Ian Sherwin and Tommy Crowe to decide who's been coaching longer. 40 to 50 years between the both of them, I'd say.
They should have been doing the half-time show. There is, lads, I suppose, the subplot today of for schools rugby. It's such a unique experience in that if you are in 6th year, barring a repeat, it's your last game. So does that play in the back of the minds of guys this could be the last 35 minutes in the jersey?
Yeah, as I said, kind of when I was playing, it was always like it was more of a pressured environment, whereas you had to win, and it kind of took any bit of enjoyment out of it. So I lost at all different levels. Obviously, I won one, lost at the semi-final, lost at the quarter-final. So I think it was actually a quarter-final in my 6th year, and that was it. That was my last game of rugby in school. So it can be quite tough to take, but look, I suppose they have the back door now, so at least you get to experience more than one of the occasions at least.
I get the feeling Duncan Williams would prefer to be 18 on the pitch today than in 2001.
Stop.
But it does bring a bit of emotion to some of those lads, and you might see that coming out in the more senior players. But just one interesting thing, we've seen Fionn Cassidy throwing into the line out now. I wonder, he looks comfortable enough. I wonder how comfortable he'll be when the pressure comes on, because Adam Rowan has been hitting his mark.
much like CBC's heroics against PBC, Duncan, Camper right back in this game a minute and a half into the second half.
Yeah, dream start there. Obviously, the offside after kick off, and then Christians kicked the ball out in the full. So they should give Crescent a bit of confidence and maybe liven up the game a bit here.
O'Callaghan lining up his first receiver on the right hand side of Lyons with Godfrey to his left, so Crescent have got options. They elect to go to the right hand side. Lyons, lovely little dink in behind. Will he get the bounce? Doesn't quite. The ball is in the hands of Lynch. Has been very assured all afternoon, and a no-nonsense clearance for Christians, and Camp will have another attack, with Camp setting the tone early. Johnny Holland and right back in the game.
And that's the corner that Christians used to get themselves back into the game as well, wasn't it? So you spoke about, what will they be speaking about at half time, and I think that's the nightmare start for Christians. They didn't want to do that, catch your kick off, get the ball off the pitch and reset again. But obviously Crescent have gotten their way into the game while using that right hand corner as well.
A little ray of sunlight from Limerick got in a CBC eye early doors in the second half as Casserly finds his man. Lyons. Good carry there again. Fenton has been really abrasive since he's come into the game, and Crescent with a pre-planned move here on the inside. Jed O'Dwyer, little ticket behind. It's well fielded by Christians over on the right hand side.
Been interested if he held on to that and put it through the hands, or as he put the kick through.
Christians through Rona again has made yards, priceless yards for Christians on every single carry to the fore of everything good they've done. Captain McCarthy, Crescent shooting off the line there, putting them under pressure. That wind is going into the right hand corner, so it is a difficult enough kick to get distance on the box. But Jack Casey takes the onus on himself. The ball will stay in play. Fair challenge for two players in the air, and Christians move forward with the ball. There's an opportunity to go in behind again, but Foy again with a carry. Been a tremendous battle between two front fives. Nice little dink over the top here. There's a lot of ground to make up, but Godfrey has dropped it, and the ball is on the move, and it's in the hands of Christians, and the winner is going to score, and it's Barrett who scores for Christians. And Johnny Holland, we might get this 30-24, but the game has exploded into life in the second half.
Yeah, hopefully. I think he likes that corner as well. But interestingly, you see the Crescent are obviously looking to kick the ball a small bit more. Benjamin Lynch looks like he's quite comfortable back there. He's gotten himself out of trouble a few times, and that's a big score to open up the game.
A good acknowledgement of space there. Duncan Williams with Christians potentially seeing the space, a fortuitous bounce. But
yeah, you could see he identified it as well. He flattened up the line and demanded the ball and put the chip, nice little kick in there. As in these pitches, you let the ball bounce, you never know what could happen. It could go anywhere.
Christopher Barrett in a carbon copy, well, not quite a carbon copy of the crossfield kick, but in the exact same position to score in the right hand corner there.
He won't make YouTube this time with that one. Not like the last one.
The score is 13-3. 5 minutes into the second half, the game exploding into life as Lynch here lines up. Great strike by Lynch. It's a really good kick, Johnny Holland, into the conditions.
Yeah, he's got a lovely slow action. He looks very controlled. It's no real surprise. But you can see Oscar Davey has just come onto the pitch. So there's your wild card. I'm told his grandmother Rita is above and Ennis watching on. So it's good to see him on the pitch. I think he'll take a lot of control of this as well.
Well, we had to wait roughly 35 and a half minutes for the game to come to life, but let's hope the second half continues in this form as the high hanging kick. No mistake this time, fielded very, very well by Christians. Daniel Rock, very good on both sides of the ball. Casey. The hard yards by the Christian forwards being made. Charlie O'Shea barking the orders. Rock again. Comp staying very disciplined on this side. And Casey, high hanging kick again. O'Dwyer does well to field, but a very good chase by Christians, but he rides the tackle. O'Dwyer so elusive in contact as Camp look to make a carry here. There is potential space on out wide as Gavin O'Riordan calls his Christians teammates out. Who needs space when the forwards are around? Another carry up the middle. It's a good kick in behind. by Lyons. Does he get the bounce? And that's a superb kick for Crescent, which puts Christians right back. The linesman hasn't made up his mind. I'm not sure if it was a 50-22, but he's given the line out.
No, I think that was well inside in the Christians half. But that's again, their entry into the game. They're kicking a lot more. It's a great kick from Marcus Lyons. I think they'll do a lot more of that from both half-backs in this half.
Christians take the ball at the old 4.5. A very good set at the front of the maul there. Both Doyle and Foy doing very, very well with Foster. Little half break there from Casey. Rock plays 9.
He's gone down injured there. Was it coming down the line out?
Carry again from Christians as Casey hits O'Shea. And O'Shea takes touch just shy of the 10-metre line. CBC captain Éanna McCarthy does look to be in a bit of bother. Let's hope he is okay, as one of the comp players is suffering from what looks like cramp.
Éanna McCarthy's holding his knee there. That's one of those ones I don't really want to know the outcome, because you take a good guess when he's coming down off a line out like that. Hopefully he'll get back to his feet, but he looks in great pain.
While there is a break in the game, as we said, today's coverage of the Pinergy Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final here in Musgrave Park is brought to you by the Irish Examiner, Dara Frawley, Duncan Williams and Johnny Holland on commentary. Johnny, we joked before the game about a 30-24, but the game has really exploded into life. The shackles are off in the second half.
There's time yet. Christians are holding their side of the bargain with another score or two, but it's definitely there's been a bit of life in the second half. I think Crescent have gotten a bit of territory now, and they're putting the pressure on, and all of a sudden that crowd is singing again, so that's a big part of this game. They obviously need to get their score. They're sitting on 3 points, so hopefully for my prediction and the goodness of the game, they can get one soon.
They get big boost here for them as well if Éanna McCarthy goes off. That'll give Crescent a bit of wind in their sails as well. So
Crescent have found it very difficult to find that space in the 215s though, Johnny, because of Christian's defence and staying connected and with the breakdown. The breakdown has really been pivotal there, so would you say Crescent probably need to commit a body or two extra for that breakdown to get quicker ball, or just keep going the way they're going and the space will open up?
Yeah, I think we've been complimentary of Crescent getting space on the edges, but Christians have obviously set up like that. They're probably leaving those edges because they're so solid in the middle, and they're nearly daring them to get there. Now Crescent have nearly gotten there, but it's always been under pressure because of how tight that defence has been in the middle. So I think you have to break that up at some stage. You can't keep trying to go around it, because there have been a few errors under pressure, but they're still going to get opportunities on the edges. But at some stage, someone like Charlie Fenton has been doing a good job of breaking up the Christians defence in the middle, so maybe a couple more carries from him and we'll see if they can get their score.
Yeah, I'd like to see Owen O'Callaghan get on the ball a bit more. He'd 1 or 2 nice little touches there in the first half, so I think Crescent should try and get a bit of the ball to him.
Captain Éanna McCarthy's race is run this afternoon. We wish him a speedy recovery. He's replaced by number 19 Conor Kennelly. Joy Neville says they're waiting for Captain McCarthy to depart the pitch. Talismanic leader is McCarthy, and a sad loss for him, but his replacement Kennelly is a unit of a young fella.
Yeah, another big man. So the Christians' physicality isn't going anywhere. I think that's tough to see. You spoke about, lads getting opportunities in the cup, and someone as talismanic as Éanna McCarthy, it's hard to see him come off like that.
His replacement Kennelly, an instant impact, stealing the line out from Crescent on the 10-metre line. McCarthy orchestrating from 10 now has the ball in his hands, and they decide to play and rock. Pass fired at him, and Summers on the move here. Crescent, a great carry. Good clear out as well, straight into the wide channels in the hands of Josh Boland. Crescent set up again through Fenton. Crescent having multiple options on the ball, looking to go through phases to put this defence under pressure. And it's a good carry again through Kelly, the captain, bringing the fight from Crescent.
The counter up.
Lovely little show and go on. O'Dwyer tried to back his pace there. There's an opportunity here as Crescent look to go in. It's going to be a foot race to get to the ball, and it just goes dead. Duncan, you said before You would have liked to have seen Gerard Dwyer keep the ball in hand. He did kick it again there, but you can see Crescent tried to back their pace of their outside wingers to get in behind that Christian's defence.
He looked money on to get that there, yeah. But look, I think they said they get the ball to the 50-metre channel there, I think, and you could see Christians were struggling for numbers a bit. I think, they kicked it and it was a bit dangerous, but I think they hold on to the ball, just go through a few more phases, they can put Christians under a bit more pressure.
Small margins in this Munster School Senior Cup semi-final. The ball kicked dead by O'Dwyer, and we will come all the way back to the 10. Johnny Holland, in terms of game management, you can imagine Tommy Crowe and Ian Dunn will be telling Charlie O'Shea not to pass the ball like that and to kick it down the field.
Yeah, I think you spoke about expensive. I'm not sure it was an expensive 10-yard pass, but yeah, I think like you look at territory and maybe getting away from your own half and stop giving Crescent the opportunity and a bit of air, so maybe strangle them a small bit more, get them into the corners and get the control back in the game.
Casey to O'Shea. O'Riordan with a good carry. Another carry again around the corner by Foy. O'Shea attacking the gain line here with options. Brought down by O'Callaghan. Rock going well. Christians deciding to open up again here, seeing an opportunity. Rock again with great strength in the carry. Barrett, the try scorer, plays at 9. The ball is moved out the back, and Christians have an opportunity out the back here through Lynch. It's a simple 2-on-1 here as they move on the outside. Crescent do well to scramble defensively. The ball is given to Rona again. Been highly confrontational in contact, but there's a foot in touch there, and the ball is up. And Johnny Holland, I think the Christian sideline may have heard you say that they didn't play expensive because they decided to play immediately.
We never really mind how they get into the opposition territory once they get in there with the run kick, but they've run it there with a lot of pace on the ball, and you can see Charlie O'Shea starting to post around the place. You said about shadow boxing at the start of the game. Maybe that was Christian's shadow boxing over. They're obviously able to bring a bit more to their game as well, but it was nice and controlled. Gavin O'Riordan up the middle, getting them go forward, and then Charlie O'Shea starting to zip around the place. So a little bit more of that, I think, for the neutral spectator would be great to see.
Well, we spoke about Daniel Rock in defence, but a great carry there, great bit of momentum, and then I think Benjamin Lynch has actually been very impressive. He's quite a calm head on young shoulders.
Tackle, release.
Crescent secure the ball 5 metres from the line out. Still look for another carry to get good field position. It's Fenton again, very abrasive in the contact. Christian stacking around the ruck.
9, use it.
Lions told to use it
5, stop.
by referee Neville.
Timing. Stop.
Lions right-legged. Finds a good touch.
Great kick.
It's a good exit from Crescent.
That's a good exit, but I think Christians are very happy where they are now. That little bit of life that they brought into themselves. They have good attacking opportunities here. You can look at it and try and squeeze a penalty and go 18-3, or they can continue what they've just done. They hurt Crescent there. Maybe Crescent didn't expect it from the way they played the game in the first half, but I think they can definitely open up a small bit more.
Great dart again by Christians. Go flat into the middle. Decide to move it out. Keeping this Crescent defence guessing. Ball is in the hands of O'Shea. Lovely little dink in behind, and Barrett against O'Dwyer. And O'Dwyer is off and is on the outside. He's a great broken field runner, is O'Dwyer. Does very, very well. The Irish under-18 schools player has been Crescent's danger man all afternoon. Summers takes an unders carry there. Marshalled well by the Christians' defence. And Joy Neville tells scrum half Marcus Lyons not to do it again. I think it was a bit of an old school shoeing, you might call that.
A Limerick shoeing.
Oh, the touch judge is in.
Steps on the back side of the red player to get him out of there. It's a penalty only because it was.
He let him know, all right.
But listen. If I see that action again, you'll leave the field of play. If I see that action again, you'll leave the field of play.
Clear communication from Joy Neville there. And this gives Benjamin Lynch the opportunity to further extend CBC's lead. Johnny, from a Christian's perspective, we spoke about the play being the right-hand corner of the Dolphin end. Are they cognizant of the fact that Gerard Dwyer is probably the best broken field runner? They don't want to be kicking ball loose to him in a Schools Cup semi-final?
I think the management will be, so when you're on the pitch like that, I think players are resilient, they back themselves, they'll want to keep playing here, but I think it's the sideline will be probably trying to put a small bit of manners on that now. I think starting with this kick at goal as opposed to going back to the corner. I think they could have done damage if they went to the corner, but this is a cup game, like we said, they're 15-3. You just keep putting them out of reach further and further. I think that will bode well for them.
Carl Lanigan Ryan and Conor Ryan come on in the front row to reinforce the Crescent stocks. Lynch judged a kick from a very similar position to perfection moments ago. Wind is swirling from right to left there. Lynch strikes it well, but it tails off to the left, and Crescent survive on this occasion. But that clearance kick isn't going to find touch. It does find grass. It gives Crescent an extra couple of steps in that defensive line. It's a great carry by Michael Foy. Maul is called by referee Neville, and Crescent will have a restart in the scrum.
I think Michael Foy's got to 8 since Aidan McCarthy's got off as well as he, so big onus on him now to carry that workload.
Taken down for red. Yeah, it's moving, but then you take it down.
I think Michael Foy is asking the question that he wasn't really tackled yet, was he? He was still moving forward, but funnily enough, you're slagging the backs all day. Jed Dwyer's in there creating a maul for himself and getting the turnover for his team, so a big play from one of their leaders. I think both nines have looked very assured as well today. Jack Casey's been marshalling his own crowd when they're in their own territory, but Marcus Lyons is coming more and more into the game too.
Lyons with the feed. Christian's putting pressure on, trying to get Rock up. Crescent kicked the ball straight into the hands of Barrett, the danger man. Already got a try this afternoon after his heroics against Prez O'Shea. Lovely little slide of hands to Benjamin Lynch. So assured on the ball. Ball judged not to have been out, but Crescent looking to counter.
No hands! No hands!
Referee says no hands, but Christian's come in the side. Foy trying to win the ball back for his team, but referee Neville saying he's come in the side. And Crescent look to up the tempo here as the ball goes down the line. And it's a super kick given the angle he had. And Crescent will have a line out inside the 10.
I think it's just the kick choice of Crescent there, kicking across the body from the right foot. The space might have been there, but it just probably wasn't the right call. And then you see Danny Rock is quite aware.
Crescent out of a 9 here. Sorry.
All right. Danny Rock's quite aware of the ball coming out of the ruck and he's sticking his foot back, but no one's coming there to join him, so Crescent have done very well to disrupt that.
Foy with a great steal again. Crescent trying to go to the tail of the line out, but Christians with their homework done. The ball is in the hands of Rock, out the back again to O'Shea. He's got O'Connell in his inside, elects not to use him, and O'Shea goes, and the tackle probably had to be made by Crescent there. No handout from Joy Neville just yet. Did look to be a little bit high, but we play on here in Musgrave Park. Christians move the ball forward 5 metres ahead of the 10 metre line. Crescent trying to disrupt. Little show and go and a knock on. Looked pretty high there, but referee Neville has been very assured all afternoon, much to the behest of the CBC supporters to our right.
Yeah, I actually don't know how to call that one. It was definitely along the line of the shoulder, grabbing at the jersey. It wasn't overly dangerous, so maybe we're looking at the flow of the game, but it could have gone either way. Good attacking play from Charlie O'Shea again, though.
For me, the grab was in the back of the jersey, so I'm down. Thank you, though.
Clear comms again from Joy Neville in conversation with the touch judge, saying that the tackle was at the back of the jersey. 53 minutes gone here, roughly 17 and a half minutes plus stoppages remaining. Not quite Hail Mary time at the moment, Johnny Holland, but Crescent are going to have to start throwing caution into the wind sooner rather than later with the score remaining as it is.
Yeah, not Hail Mary time, but you can see Oscar Davies' distribution is actually quite sharp. It's going to put his outside backs into good position, so I think this time they're not going to be kicking the ball, I think, off a right foot, going right to left. I'd like to see them having a cut at the outside backs of Christians.
Ball is at the base. Lyons to Davy.
How wrong was I?
High left kick.
Take that.
Lynch takes it very well. Decides at the last minute to kick. It's going to be Davy here again. Puts on footwork. And a left-footed kick, a little bit early, but Summers, very good skill set for a big man. And Crescent are on the move here, and it's O'Dwyer on the right-hand side. And he goes around. Christian swarm the ruck. But the isolated rucks generally on that side of the pitch, Johnny Holland, nobody with him, but a wonderful piece of broken field running from Jed O'Dwyer.
Unbelievable running from Jed O'Dwyer. I think he got fortunate to get that ball back after they were blocked down. I understand their want to kick for territory, but I think when it's a bit more of a stalemate and they're trying to get into the Christians' half, but I think they have opportunities here in their own half to start keeping the ball in hand and see what their outside backs can do. Like you said, Jed O'Dwyer is causing a lot of trouble. The Christians seem to have the answers for them.
Great work by Alex O'Connell there to get back and get on the poach.
He's been fired up as well. I think he's been giving it back to the Crescent lads, so a lot of passion going into it.
CBC's huge commitment to defence has kept Crescent to a sole penalty to score 15-3 here after 55 minutes in the Munster School Senior Cup semi-final in association with the Irish Examiner in Musgrave Park. As Rona gets ready, Foy, the dummy, they elect to go to the tail. It's knock on. A little bit of jiggery pokery on the right hand of the jumper there from Crescent, not seen by the officials. But it's been a ding-dong battle at the set piece all day, and we will restart with a scrum, one of Duncan Williams' favourite things.
I don't think anyone can make head nor tail of scrums these days.
Listen to my stop call off the drive.
Lee Nicholas and Ian Sherwin deep in conversation in front of our gantry position here. Crescent setting up as if they're going to go.
Set. Hold. Stop.
Lions with the feed to McInerney, to Davy. Lovely little pass to O'Dwyer. Tries to get on the inside shoulder of Murphy, but he does well to tackle O'Dwyer, the danger man for Crescent. Big collision in midfield there. Godfrey again to Davy. Lovely little flat ball. Christian staying connected. Bit of a mess at the breakdown, and Christians, much like they've done from the opening minute, chopping and clamping. And I think it was Adam Rona again with the turnover there.
Listen. The next time a player screams me like that, there'll be a penalty against you, and then thereafter you leave the pitch. Okay, that player.
Tempers perhaps flaring. Johnny Holland for Crescent here, a little bit of frustration, exactly what's not needed to get back into the game.
I think when the pressure comes on, we all let out a little scream or two, so I think you have to keep the emotion in check a small bit here and find their way through what is a Christian's defence that isn't really becoming any weaker at the moment. Even with changes, I don't think they're going to get weaker at this stage, so it's going to be hard to break them up.
Ben Gallagher enters the fray for Crescent Camp. Just over 13 minutes left on the clock as Benjamin Lynch, his trusty right boot, finds touch, and Christians will have a line out just outside the 10-metre line. Michael Foy calling a 6-man line out. The call given by Sam Loftus to Rona. Nice bit of movement in Foy again. He's been imperious in the air all afternoon, and Christians look to set their maul. Good foundation at the front. Crescent doing their best to disrupt, as referee Neville says, one stop. Ball with Casey, out the back to O'Shea. The Sexton wraparound, not this time, but O'Riordan has his pocket picked by McInerney. His opposite number. Christian's very quick to try and fold, and they're going to go quickly. And it's Summers again. CBC adjudged to have been 10 there. Davy with a lovely little bit of distribution. Johnny Holland loving that, no doubt.
He's pulling some strings now, isn't he?
Davy again.
It's on it to go around the corner here.
Christian's winger Barrett asking to fold. McInerney tries to go over the head of Lynch, unorthodox. The ball is taken in, says referee Neville. And Lynch beats O'Dwyer. And it's Crescent's Mark Fitzgerald in the backfield to turn over. Game breaking up here a small bit with the introduction of replacements as Fenton carries well. Crescent just over the 10 metre line in the 5 metre channel inside the Christians half. Crescent trying to go out the back there, but options not around. Davy this time does see O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer moves it out, and it's a lovely flow of pass to winger Josh Boland. And Barrett has his hands on the ball. The referee Neville will say there was no release in the tackle. Christian's defence has been incredibly impressive, even on that foul there, Duncan. You said a couple of times Comp had the opportunity to go, but they're just so disciplined, and their knowledge to get around the corner to fill up those spaces is quite impressive.
Yeah, for a second or two there it looked like a quick ball that Crescent ran to go, but to be fair to Christians, they worked hard in the fold. And Barrett staying in the contest there. I know he got penalised with there, but for a small man he did well staying in the contest.
Dennis Callaghan enters the fray for Christians.
Bit of beef.
You look, the Christians' defence is obviously quite solid, but I'm watching the far right hand corner that Crescent are playing into, and it's always open. That's why they've started to kick the ball in there, but it's open because the Christians, full back is pushing, the winger is pushing, they're only using 2 men in the backfield, and they're clogging up the front field, so they can turn and kick the ball over their right shoulder if they want to, but Christians will welcome that. They've been tearing it up. I think you'd have to do a lot to put Benjamin Lynch out of his comfort zone. He looks very, very comfortable, so they're not going to get the rewards in there. They can't really kick the ball away with time running out as well, so Christians now are starting to plug the front line and put them under more pressure.
Oscar Davey finds touch inside the 22, the ball in the hands of Fionn Casserly as Crescent elect to go for a 4-man line out here. The rain starting to come down in Musgrave Park. There's a lovely little dump on the inside, but the referee has called it back. A little bit telegraphed.
You could see that was on early from the start. Christians having no interest in looking behind them.
Christians will have the option of a scrum or line out. And Michael Foy, who has taken over the captaincy since the departure of Aina McCarthy, elects for a scrum on the 15. We speak about big moments, Johnny Holland. If Crescent want to get back into this game and make it a one-score game through a try, they really need to start taking those opportunities.
Yeah, they've had a couple of opportunities as well, haven't they? They've been creating them. I'd say they look back at this video, coaches look back at the video, and maybe they won't if they get knocked out of a competition, they leave it there, but they have created opportunities. You maybe have to look at why they didn't convert them.
Crescent eager to put Christians under pressure. The introduction of Dennis Callaghan to the Christians front row, adding additional power to an already powerful unit. Crescent captain Killian Kelly rousing his troops. They know they need a big final 10 minutes in this Munster School Senior Cup semi-final. Casey feeds. So Reardon makes the yards there, getting on the outside of Davy. Christians working towards an exit. Good carry from Cian Walsh, another one of the substitutes for Christians who's come into the game. Casey high and hanging, ball will be a bit greasy, but Davy takes it well. Christian's defence marshalling him. McInerney zips the pass out along the wet surface, and it's Boland on the right hand side, and he does manage to get outside just over the 10 metre line. Christians doing their best to counter ruck here.
Very tight in defence here.
Kelly with a good carry. Davy, nice distribution there. Summers with the clear out. McInerney has his pocket picked very well by Christians there. And O'Shea, the ball bounces to Barrett. Barrett does love unorthodox means of getting into the opposition half. McInerney saw a man down in backfield, but Jack O'Shea helps his mate out. Has a little look up, steps inside, very elusive, but he's held on to very, very well by Casserly of Crescent. Foy with a good carry. Game becoming broken up here now in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Casey calls for Cam. Sends the ball high. O'Dwyer leaves it for his mate Cormac Quinn of Crescent. Stray CBC hand there. Davey moves the ball into backfield, but Christians have it filled very well, and O'Shea has a little look up. If he can keep that one in play. Just didn't quite get the bounce. McInerney moves it into O'Dwyer, and O'Dwyer is going to go off in a gallop. Beats 3 or 4 players, but Michael Foy and co swarm him up. Play just inside the half for Crescent here. Davey moves the ball outside, and it's Summers stretching those long legs. Well tackled by Gavin O'Riordan on the right hand touchline. Ball moved up again. The pace of the game is now picked up as Fenton is met by Foy on the right hand side. 15 metres in from touch. Davey says he's going to have a little go. There's been many a distributor since he's come on, but
Paul's been in play a long time here.
Crucial yards, and we can see that there's a lot of guys touching their calves and hamstrings. McInerney at 9. Fenton says go out the back. Davey, a little dink in behind. A lot of ground to cover for Christians here, whichever way the ball bounces. Barrett shepherding it towards the touchline, and Summers hits him. Barrett does incredibly well to keep his legs in from touch there. And it will be a penalty to Crescent. And Johnny Holland, are we in Hail Mary time now?
I think you are. But like there's a lot of calls of loosen and fold.
Oh,
A bit of trouble going on here. I think Crescent have been getting riled up. Maybe a late tackle earlier on. Lou said Mark Fitzgerald wasn't happy with it, and I think he's still having to go over it.
Joy Neville, who's been clear with communication all day. The penalty will stay with Crescent, although she is going to have a conversation with both captains. Crescent did have a 5 metre tap penalty in the first half, close to the line, where they did try a variation of the 2-3 setup.
Of both your teams, have a word. I do not want to see that again.
So important here not to potentially get held up over the line though, with the timing we are in the game.
I think all this talking and slowing the game down is just going to suit Christians.
Ball is at the feet of Casserly. Crescent need a score. Casserly moves it out to Kelly, and it's a substitute, and it's a wonderful score from Crescent. We said Hail Mary time. Carl Lanigan-Ryan has brought Crescent potentially back within a score, depending on the conversion, and Johnny Holland were set up for a stellar finish here.
Yeah, they actually had a lovely variation, from the Sheehan playbook, I think, with Ireland in the first half, and that's a lovely, great variation there. I think the pass was always going to go inside, but I didn't see the pass being thrown after that, and there was a big hole for the sub to run into.
O'Callaghan pulls the conversion to the left-hand side, and the gap remains 7 points. 3.5 plus stoppages.
They might have missed the conversion, but now there's a chance, isn't there? It's a one score. And I think if you're Crescent, like we spoke about it before the game, if they replay this game, you put Christians out of their comfort zone a small bit more. If they started to move a few more passes, obviously it's easier in hindsight when they got them behind, but they've made them quite uncomfortable when they were able to move the passes a little bit earlier.
Tommy Crowe calls for reinforcements. Stephen O'Shaughnessy and Conor Foley enter the fray in the championship minutes here in Musgrave Park in this Munster School Cedar Cup semi-final. Coverage brought to you by the Irish Examiner. Mightn't have been 30-24, lads, but we certainly got a hell of a second half.
I just said one score game, did I?
Yeah. Charlie O'Shea taking his time. The game hangs in the balance here. High hanging kick, but it's gone a little bit far, and Crescent will have a starter play on the halfway line. 7 points the gap. We are on a running clock here in Musgrave Park. There is time left for Crescent, but there is little room for errors. McInerney has slotted in well at 9. Duncan since moving in from inside centre for Crescent.
Yeah, he's done well. The game has opened up a bit as well since he's been on. Not due to him in general, but just the way the game has gone. I think Christians here need to just be smart, let them have the ball. And just, I think when they fill the field, they're well comfortable and well able to defend them. So
ball is in the hands of Davy. Jetta Dwyer.
fair pass.
O'Callaghan looked to be a touch forward, but O'Callaghan, big rangy man, ball bounces off the head. Open play. Summers. Fenton hit very, very hard and low. A textbook tackle from the Christians replacement, George Good. That's a lovely little line break from Crescent's replacement, Conor Ryan. They've got numbers on the outside. Christians looking frantically to go there. Ball is skipped through Davy, and Crescent looking to play. Anywhere will do there. Boots being thrown at it on that right hand touchline. The ball still on the Crescent side. Christians trying frantically to disrupt the ball. McInerney goes out the back. Crescent still playing. Summers has been brilliant all afternoon. O'Dwyer, wonderful footwork. He's got O'Callaghan on his outside. O'Callaghan being shepherded towards the touchline. O'Callaghan's going to go, and he puts the ball down. Come at the man, come at the hour. O'Callaghan will have the opportunity to level the game through his own try. And much like Christians in that quarter-final win against Prez, Comp seemed to have come back from the dead.
If he had just that bit of composure, he could have gone in closer to make his kick a bit easier. Maybe he wants it this way.
30-24 across 2 legs, is it? We'll be back next Tuesday.
Owen O'Callaghan would have dreamed of this moment. He scored in the corner. He certainly has the opportunity, distance-wise. Pulled a kick about 12 metres to the right, just to the left of the post. O'Callaghan lines it up. Strikes it very, very well. And O'Callaghan splits the posts for Crescent Con. And in a game that seemed to be beyond them, with 6 minutes to go, is now somehow level. Lads, you can't beat schoolboy rugby.
It's an amazing kick. I saw it was a Ben O'Connor's one last year. The 2 of them he had last year, like a Tiger Woods stinger into the wind, and that's followed suit.
I think you've got a couple of big substitutions that have to be made for Christians. Like you're looking at Gavin Reardon in the middle of the pitch, Adam Rona, Michael Doyle. There's a lot of big players for them gone off the pitch, and all of a sudden gaps start to open up.
And as we get our breath here in Musgrave Park, to my knowledge, it will be a replay next week, as there is no extra time in underage schoolboy rugby. So let Johnny Holland sum up the last 10 minutes.
I can't. But we spoke about Crescent maybe loosening up a small bit, throwing a couple of extra passes. I think Oscar Davey has possibly earned his start for next week, the way he's able to distribute the ball. I think if he was on from the start as well, his kicking game is quite good, nice and controlled, and if you do that from the start, it's obviously going to give them a little bit more control and pressure too. So possibly the wild card off the bench that we spoke about, but Christians will be kicking themselves. They're in full control of that game for at least an hour. Maybe not in control in the first half, but defensively they were, and the looser game looked to suit Crescent.
Yeah, but let's give Crescent credit, as well. They got 2 well-worked tries. I know they scored off the penalty tap, but to get them up to the 5 metre line was good play, and great play to score at the end there, and an unbelievable kick to finish it as well. So
the never say die attitude, lads. We spoke about testosterone flowing through both squads before the game. There's going to be some angry individuals, but the beauty is they get to do it again, all again next week. We will bring you details of that game as we get them. A reminder that we are back tomorrow at 1:15 for a 1:30 p.m. kickoff between St. Munchin's College and PBC, and hopefully, lads, it's more the same with that regard. But what a game. And again, as Duncan alluded to, Johnny, the never say die of Crescent there, the likes of the guys that played in the final before. What a comeback from them in the last 5-6 minutes.
And they had composure there, and I think if Duncan's putting on his developmental hat again, these guys all get another game in the cup. A hard fought semi-final again next week. You just want to see a lot of these guys playing more rugby, so that's for the neutrals. I think it's great that everyone gets to come out and watch it again. It was a really good semi-final. When it opened up, it got very exciting at the end. But yeah, never say die. I think they possibly, the scoring off the set piece, it was well worked from Crescent's perspective. Christians will be kicking themselves because that came just too early to shut them out for the end of the game, you know. So if they could have held their defensive set there, it would have been a long way to go for Crescent. But you know, they came up with a variation, well worked, obviously well practiced, and they're well worked their draw.
We spoke in the first half that Christians actually defended for long periods of time, so maybe that took its toll at the end there. Obviously Crescent got their scores in the last 5 minutes, so you know, maybe that's a learning point for Christians as well, that they can't afford to be defending for that length of time in the first half, and when they exit they need to get out of there and stay out of there.
A highly entertaining game here in the Munster Schools Senior Cup semi-final in association with the Irish Examiner. A reminder that we will be back tomorrow at 1:15 for the second semi-final between St Munchin's College from Limerick and PBC Cork. A highly entertaining game, and many thanks to Johnny Holland and Duncan Williams. From myself, Darragh Frawley, and the Irish Examiner, have a very good afternoon.